Welcome one and all to another episode of Wiki Weekends, where we take a wiki, we have a deep dive, and we keep swimming it until we find something fun to talk about. I'm your host for this episode, Lucas Holland, and of course, I'm joined as always by the lovely Karl Smallwood.
Hello.
And today, Karl, we are talking about a subject that was decided by our lovely viewers over on our Patreon.
And what have they decided, Monfrey?
Well, Karl, they made a vote between 4 different subjects that I had picked from, suggestions from the community. One that was slightly prompted by us, but a couple of people then mentioned in return, which was Sagata Sanshiro. Another couple of suggestions that we got from our Discord, though, were Sly Cooper, South Park, and another thing beginning with S that we are talking about today.
And that thing is?
That thing is Small But Mighty, because it's small soldiers, Karl.
Search out the Gorgonites and frag them all!
Oh, fuck yeah, Small Soldiers. I'm so glad we're talking about Small Soldiers and not South Park.
And that's the thing, for a little while, the South Park vote was taking the lead. I was like, I guess I'll go watch the movie. I haven't found South Park funny in quite a while, but, I'm good to, have a discussion about it, get into, my likes and dislikes, and then Small Soldiers took the lead, and I'm just ready to get hype about some Little Mighty Men.
Fire in the hole!
Why is that Phil so hype? And why does it have such a great resonating message of fuck you, buy me toys? I know that's not the message, but I so wanted one of the Small Soldiers toys when I was a kid.
The world's most awesome high-tech fighting force is ready to battle for the next millennium.
Chip Hazard reporting for duty!
It's so merchandisable. But the thing is, though, they're never going to live up to the thing that the movie promises, right? Which is kind of a theme of the movie. The toys are never going to, run around and shoot things like they do in the movie. But that's what the guy says, isn't it, when they go pitch the Commando Elite to him?
Mm-hmm.
Where he says, oh, can he actually do that? What, punch out of the box? Because you have, Tommy Lee Jones punch out of the box, and he's like, no, but we'll put a disclaimer in the corner. And the guy's like, I fucking hate when toys don't do that. Make them do the thing they can do in the advert.
What if these toys actually could talk? What if they could walk? What if they could actually kick ass?
Take nitro!
I'm talking about toys that are so smart when kids play with them, they play back. Toys, in short, gentlemen, that actually do what they do in the commercials.
I mean, true, but that's like watching Toy Story and saying the Toy Story toys aren't going to come to life as well.
No, because the Toy Story movie doesn't, it specifically says that they don't move around there's an ad, right?
Yeah, but that's the thing. I get what you're saying is the merchandise that they have for advertised for the movie that says it hates disclaimers likely has to have a disclaimer on it saying that it doesn't do the thing it does in the movie.
Admittedly, the thing it does in the movie is try to kill you, so I guess that's good.
But it would at least create some, intense action that you've not seen before, Karl.
Don't you think that's a bit violent?
Exactly. So don't call it violence. Call it action. Kids love action.
Here's the thing as well. I reckon I could probably take out about 500, Commando Elite.
You've had your time to watch the movie. Obviously, we are going full spoilers on this 1998 movie.
God, man, that's a long-ass time.
Yeah, this movie isn't nearly as old as Karl and I, so you've had your time if you want to watch this without spoilers, but, spoilers for the end of the movie. Kirsten Dunst just, gets on a fucking rideable lawnmower and just mows them down, literally.
Okay, what part of the movie to you looks the most fun? Is it riding around the lawnmower running over plastic toys? Or is it the mum who starts playing tennis with flaming tennis balls?
I was literally thinking, is it the flaming tennis match that they have to have through the window of that house?
Fire! Service! Great balls of fire!
I was wondering, because I'm really, gonna try and lean on the Wikipedia more than I do in this one, just because, I'm fascinated by the kind of production side of things and, you know, etc., of this movie, because it's 1998 and I was like rewatching it going, man, like, yeah, okay, there's some like silly aspects to it, while there's like a very gross overuse of like wacky sound effects and stuff, but it's a kids movie, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, I wonder who like made the movie, because the actual like effects of the movie hold up well for the most part, like compared to what you would see for a lot of 1998 films.
The little toys look like actual toys, and then later in the movie when the toys absolutely flip their shit and start building like the contraptions, they were like real as far as I'm aware. Like they actually did get people in to say, okay, make a tiny little like helicopter out of like pots and pans you find in a house and give it like a makeshift gun. Like they attach like nail guns to like a drone and start flying around, right?
Yeah, I think it's not a drone, but they do like have this little vehicle with like an automatic nail gun that they just start like trying to murk the family with.
There they are! Nail them!
Not good.
Hey, kid! Don't you like 9-inch nails?
It looks very practical a lot of times, and then when the CG soldiers have to like move around a bit more freely, it clearly looks a bit more weird and plasticky, but it looks like they got like pretty good reference off real models and stuff, and then were able to use CGI quite well in like, you know, kind of the best of both worlds, where you actually have real life referencing and stuff like that to make it look better.
Well, wrong gauge. Insert tab A into slot B. Turn until click.
Bite the bullet, pal. It'll be okay.
Here's tape.
Plus as well, you have the inbuilt excuse of their toys, so they wouldn't have like full range of motion anyway.
Well, it's the exact reason that they initially started with Toy Story as the first fully animated computer like feature-length film, right? It's because Pixar knew, look, the models that we've got for like humans look a bit weird and plasticky and off, and like Andy and his family don't look great in that movie. But you know what looks intentionally plasticky and weird? Toys.
Yeah, if someone says, oh, the models in the first Toy Story movie look plastic and terrible, it's like, thanks, we did our job then.
Right? But Small Soldiers is a 1998 American action comedy film directed by Joe Dante. And if you don't know that name, Joe Dante, as we click on his Wikipedia page, is known notably for the movies Gremlins and its sequel, Gremlins 2, The New Batch.
Hell, goddamn yeah. It's like just Joe Dante having all the fun with the tiny plastic stupid monsters. What a hero.
The moment I clicked on Joe Dante's page, I was like, it's the Gremlins, guys. Like, this makes so much sense now why the movie actually looks pretty good.
Also, as well, why at a certain point in the movie they just start like getting their practical effects and blowing them the fuck up, right?
Yeah.
Because one of the things Joe Dante loved about that Gremlins movie is putting gremlins into microwaves and stuff like that.
And the movie stars Kirsten Dunst and Gregory Smith alongside voices of Frank Langella and Tommy Lee Jones. And
just Tommy Lee Jones, absolutely, just earning his paycheck, right? Like, that's before Tommy Lee Jones was at the like point in his career, is like, just let the check clear.
This was still when, as much as, you know, he had problems on the set, like, he was still doing movies like Batman Forever and just hamming it the actual fuck up.
No poor sap ever won a war by dying for his country. He won it by being all that he can be. Damn the torpedoes, or give me death.
His performance is good, and he has some fantastic one-liners I still recall to this day. Like when they go into like the room with all like the Barbie knockoff dolls.
Yeah.
Right?
And all of the soldiers are like, oh man, like, you know, can we have like 3-day leave and all this shit, and we're gonna go to have some R&R.
Hello, Dolly. Sweet stuff. Hubba.
R&R, sir?
Request a 3-day pass, sir.
Denied.
And he's like, denied! And just starts like, or he like rips out like one of his mate's skulls and he's like, a mind is a terrible thing to waste.
Criminy. I think I'm gonna hurl.
A mind is a terrible thing to waste.
And then they make some like Frankenstein's monster army of just like fucking, I can't remember the name of them now, but like the fake Barbie dolls. Gwendy dolls. They're called Gwendy.
Gwendy, there we go. The great Kirsten Dunst moment, right, where they start attacking. It's like, I've always hated these things. That's hitting with a golf club.
Ciao, girls. Pissy fit. You're to die for. I've always hated these things. Oh, humanity.
There's that great moment where they make the first one and like, you know, literally Frankenstein monstering it up of like, it's alive! And then she just comes into frame of like, cannon fodder Gwendy reporting for duty, sir. Oh, God.
It's fantastic, right? Like, it's so fun.
It is. It's really fun. It does hold up pretty well. Like, I was surprised going back and watching it of like, man, this movie just, again, has some weird moments to it, but like, generally speaking, it's just a really fun family movie of like, fuck it, these small soldiers are coming after you.
Yeah, and just like, I don't think there's a single bad performance in the movie, save for the main kid, who's just absolutely without any sort of charisma and is a flatline in every scene he's in.
Mm-hmm.
Greetings, Alan. Now shut up. I am Archer, emissary of the Gorgonites.
Mm-hmm. I think you're smarter than you're letting on. I bet you're smart enough to get my name right. It's Alan, just plain Alan. That's all. Got it?
Greetings, Alan.
But it does make mention here that, unfortunately, Small Soldiers marks the last on-screen film role of Phil Hartman, who was murdered 2 months before the film's premiere, and the film is dedicated to his memory. Because, like,
you know what? A good role for him. It's like there's some of those like final movie performances that aren't great. And it's like, oh, this is the final thing they did. Like Orson Welles, the final thing he did is like Transformers. And it's like, you know what? Not everyone could be Orson Welles and have a movie as awesome as that as their final performance.
I was just looking up because I remembered Robin Williams' last movie was like some weird thing, and it's absolutely anything, that Simon Pegg film, and like. He was the voice of the dog in that, and that was his, like, last feature film that he was ever in. It's like...
All right, Dennis, become a rational thinking creature.
Look, I just can't concentrate on anything until I've had one of those biscuits. I know it's crazy, but that's how it is. I guess I'm kind of hooked on them. So please, give me just one biscuit, then I'll be able to think about something else.
I'm sure the performance in that movie of Robin Williams is fantastic, because it's Robin Williams, but just for the sake of culture... If an actor ever passes before their time, it's probably agreed by everybody, including, I'd say, the actors themselves. Like, you want the last role to be a good one. You want it to be memorable, right?
And not just like I voiced a dog in a proper just 7 out of 10 movie.
Yeah, that no one remembers. Like, you want something like Phil Hartman, where his final role is a cult classic, where his performance is genuinely hilarious. Like the part where because he plays such a good dickhead neighbour, right?
He's like the dad of Kirsten Dunst, and like he just plays that like arsehole-ish dad, and just he goes out there and just sells the Gorgonites downriver, and they're like, shit, he's given us up. And then all of the small soldiers are like, we are here to kill like the 16 Gorgonites, and they're like, oh shit, that's 7 Gorgonites and 9 humans. Oh no, they want us too.
I'm here to negotiate the surrender of the Gorgonzolas. Now here's our proposal.
Hey!
Take them.
He's selling us down the river. The guy's a regular Arnold Benedict.
I mean, switch them off, take them apart, steal their batteries, whatever it is you people do.
There will be no surrender. There will be no mercy. All Gorgonite scum must die.
The fact that his first instinct is to sell out like his little robo friends. Or like just the bit earlier in the film where he's cutting down a tree to make way for his like giant fuck off satellite dish, and the other dad's like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "Oh, I'm doing you a great favour, aren't I? I'm cutting down this ugly tree."
He's like, "That's my tree, and no fuck off your satellite dish."
Oh, don't worry, you don't have to pay me for anything. It's like, oh, that's such a good dickhead neighbour thing, right?
What the hell are you doing, Phil? This is my tree.
Don't worry, happy to do the work. What are good neighbors for? You see the dish? She's a beauty, huh? I'll check the zoning laws, but I think they'll prove me in the right here.
The movie itself depicts two factions of toys which turn sentient and sapient after mistakenly being installed with a military microprocessor, in turn putting two families in danger when one faction turns lethal. And they, I can't remember the name of one of the two, but it's David Cross and somebody else, like, are the toy manufacturers who come up with this idea for, like, the Gorgonites and the small soldiers and this cool world. And he's like, great, like Globo Force or whatever they're called. We've got the best military tech in the world. Tell you what, like, you have access to all of it. Make whatever the fuck you want. Make them as violent and, like, just, you know, actual sentient as possible. And it's like, okay.
The fact he puts, like, military grade chips in the toys and they turn, like, super violent. But the bit at the end where the guy's like, how much are we selling these things for?
What were we charging for these things?
$79.95.
Tell you what, add a few zeros to the end of that number, get in touch with our military division. I know some rebels in South America who are going to find these toys very entertaining.
Oh, and the film was theatrically released on July 10th, 1998 to mixed reviews, and it grossed $71.8 million against a $40 million budget. So, not particularly great. I should say more of a cult classic movie than anything at this point. It probably did massive numbers over, like, VHS sales and stuff like that later down the line, right?
I definitely remember watching it a bunch on VHS, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Just as well they got Frank Langella in to play fucking Archer. He's such a serious big name actor, and they got him in to voice Archer of the Gorgonites.
Yeah, just like the main Gorgonite dude who's just like the little crossbow creature, right?
Yeah, the thing is though, Archer's such a great character. I love how wise he sounds. Like Frank Langella, obviously, because he's a fantastic actor, he adds so much gravitas to the role of just this stupid fucking toy.
Yeah, and there's a great moment where, while Alan, the kid, is asleep, he gets onto the computer and starts looking through the internet. And the weirdest thing for me was a 1998 movie making out he could load pages onto the internet with any reasonable amount of speed.
That's like the best special effect in the movie, right? The internet that actually loads up.
Just a great line afterwards where he's like, look, you're clearly like a clever, intelligent, sentient being. My name's Alan. Like, what's your name? And asks him to, like, walk around and prove that he knows things. And then he's like, yes, Alan, keeper of the charter. And it's like, what? Have you been using my PC? As we said earlier, it's essentially like just Toy Story gone wrong, right?
Yeah, and I like it's just entirely informed by the eccentric CEO being like, you know what I fucking hate? When adverts lie to me.
Yeah.
I want the toy to actually punch its way out of the box, and I want it to be the hottest toy this Christmas. And you know what? If they actually made toys that did that, not the killing you part, but the part where it's like punching its way out of the box and be like, hey, I'm going to whoop some Gorgonite ass, let's go. That'd be the best toy ever. And is there any toys like that for you, Lucas, that you were annoyed when they lied to you in the ad, or you were disappointed by how just they didn't live up to the promise of the commercials or the advertising copy?
I mean, I think a lot of, like, the main things that come to mind are just the real popular, like, mainstream stuff where we've talked about before, like Tamagotchi, of, like, this living sentient creature gonna grow inside of your Tamagotchi egg, and, like, the idea of Furby learning and talking back to you, and it's actually like
the biggest lie ever told is
just
the
a
Furby,
massive
right?
lie, and they just, like, you know, gatekeep or timekeep the new words that Furby learns, quote unquote, and just has access to over, like, the days and weeks of you purchasing them. And just the idea of, like, hey, these things are definitely going to be, like, actual living beings. And it's like, no, it's just a very simple trick played on children for money. But
yep,
it kind of reminds me of, like, the idea of Peter Molyneux sitting there going to, like, and in Fable, you can plant one acorn and watch the tree grow in real time. And it's like, fuck off, no, you couldn't. You couldn't even watch a tree grow ever.
Yeah, is that how about Peter Molyneux? You just gargle my balls and stop lying.
this Heartland toy company are literally told, like, you have access to our entire company catalog. Here are your secret private passwords to get, like, anything you want in the entire company. You know, they're given a tight deadline of 3 months to get the toys ready for shipment, which they then unwittingly equip the toys with Globotech's X1000 microprocessor, which he later learns was meant for the Department of Defense.
Nuclear blast would wipe them out. That's why the military never used them.
Well, what kind of moron would put military technology in toys?
That'd be Gizmo over here.
Lucas, we've all been there.
Can you imagine, though, what would happen to just, like, that company and potentially the American military of, like, finding out, well, what happened to all of, like, these $1 million processors that you promised we put in, like, these brand new nukes or whatever? It's like, oh, they're in toys. Sorry, what? Oh yeah, we just put them in our latest toys instead. It's like, imagine, like, being the person that has to break the news that all those chips are gone.
It is like, yeah, it is big, like, sledgehammer cracking a walnut energy, isn't it? Yeah. Even the guy says, like, you put military grade weapons systems in fucking toys, and he goes, well, actually, no, technically you did, because I used your password. Good luck with that. Wait, what?
And I just looked down. It did also mention that within, like, the voice cast of the toys, the voices that they got in as Gwendy dolls are actually Sarah Michelle Gellar and Christina Ricci.
Why not?
Why not, right?
Get them a fucking paycheck.
But I'm going down to the production because, like, the plot of the movie is fun and that, but again, like, I want to know how they made this movie. It says, on making the film, director Joe Dante recalled, originally I was told to make an edgy picture for teenagers, but when the sponsor tie-ins came in, of course, the new mandate was to soften it up and make it as a kiddie movie. Too late, as it turned out, and there are elements of both approaches in there. Just before release, it was purged of a lot of action and explosions.
The thing is, though, explosions are fine in a kid's movie as long as, like, it's if violence. And there is some pretty gnarly bits in it. I remember, like, the kid gets shot in the leg by the nails.
No, his dad ends up taking a shot to the leg with the nail gun. Alan's dad goes out and, like, takes a little, like, a tiny knife, admittedly, like a, you know, knife that only a small soldier is wielding, but he takes an actual stab to the ankle from that as well.
Here. Let's get him! Where's blood? Yeah, stick this in your pipe and smoke it!
But I don't care how tough you are. If someone stabs you in the ankle with a little knife, you're going fucking down.
Well, he doesn't. He just bats it away and keeps going, burns them all down. He's an actual fucking hero.
That's why you get that great line of, like, what are you packing, Tiny? Packing you. And he just shoots, like, a 1 foot wide net at him, which somehow works. Which just slays me every time how shit that net is.
Because, like, at the moment when they, like, you know, finish off the small soldiers and send out, like, a fucking EMP to eradicate them all, you literally see that the small soldier has got him in the net pinned down and is ready to about to just murder him.
Yeah, he's going to get him.
he's won that battle.
Oh man, can we talk about, like, the part where, like, all the Gorgonites are just, like, pussying out? And Arch is like, come on, guys, we can't puss out this hard again. It's like, but that's what we're programmed to do. It's like, but if we hide, they'll just come in and kill us faster.
Yeah, because the law of the Gorgonites versus the elite commandos is the Gorgonites lose.
Yeah, they're programmed to puss out instantly. It's great.
So they literally are hiding in the kitchen while this wall's going down. And he's like, look, we're going to get torn apart either way. We might as well go down fighting.
I wonder how, like, Tommy Lee Jones feels about the fact that his enemy is programmed to lose every single time.
And then they still win.
Shouldn't fight. We should hide.
If we hide, we will still lose. No more hiding.
It's funny, though, because two of the Gorgonites, as soon as they decide to start fighting, is like, well, one of you's this giant ogre with a fucking boulder for a fist, and another one you are, like, this giant rhinoceros/rhinoceros beetle crossover that's, like, buff as fuck, and it's like, you two alone should be out there taking out this elite commando army.
He kicks the fuck out. Like, they all get their, like, few hits in, right? But Archer's the one, he's like the real pro.
Apparently Joe Dante commented that part of the deleted content he mentions was at the end of the movie, the Abernathy's house just explodes. Says the explosion was shot, but the studio did not want to show it on screen. Dante believes the studio had hopes that Small Soldiers would be the start of a film series. And
what film series? All the Commando Elite die and the Gorkonites fuck off?
I guess, like, the Globotech company makes, like, an Elite Commandos 2 or something without learning the lesson, right? But it only has one small paragraph here talking about the effects side of things, and we'll see if they go further into it later down the line, but it says, for the film's effect shots, Dante stated that the original idea was to mostly use puppets provided by the one Stan Winston. However, Dante said that while shooting, it was much simpler and cheaper to use computer-generated imagery, CGI, after the scenes had been shot, so the film is 1/3 puppetry and the rest CGI. But it's a nice blend, I think, and there are definitely shots where it's like the CGI doesn't look as good, and I'll put an example in right now.
Nick Nitro's battery has run out, but his memory will keep going and going and going. His death will be avenged.
But for the most part, as I say, they took that blended mix of just using actual puppets on set and then having them as reference for CGI. So generally speaking, even though it's 1997 or 8 CGI, depending on when the effects were finalized, the actual reference lighting is clearly there because they fit within the scene and they look like they're correctly done. They're just a bit shiny and sheeny because it's like 1998.
But also that makes sense because they're supposed to be plastic anyway, so sure, they get away with it.
And there's so many shots where even though parts of the dolls are actually moving, they look perfectly like dolls. It's really impressive.
Yeah, because they just were very fortunate. Well, not fortunate because they designed it that way, I suppose, right? They wanted them to look like shit.
They look like regular action figures, right? That are posable, but they still clearly have each defined segment of the where the torso attached to the lower torso, to the arms, to the head. They have all those seams built in and stuff like that.
That's the highway.
And beyond that?
About 1 million acres of farm.
And what's beyond that?
I don't know.
Gorgon.
The critical response here, it says it ended up with a 49% based on 47 reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. So about half of the people that saw it thought it was good.
It's not bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad for a movie like that, right? I bet as well, after Phil Hartman died, I bet a bunch of those reviewers oh shit.
I also, wouldn't want your critical thoughts to have to be hindered on something like that happening, right? You would think as a critic that you stand by your opinion and nothing else would sway it either way.
Lucas, all right, let me tell you about a little site called Pitchfork.com.
Oh god, no.
The music review site that has multiple times been caught editing reviews of albums that have been critically reevaluated to make it seem like they were always on the right side of musical history.
But that's notable, right? That there is specifically a website that's been found doing that. It's not like most critics work that way or most websites get caught doing that or anything.
It'd be funny if they tried though, right?
It would be, because clearly, as Pitchfork.com has shown, you'd get caught out immediately.
Yeah, imagine trying to do that on the internet, because I think it's back to it's Roger Ebert, probably one of the most famous film critics, where he had legendarily shit taste or opinions in regards to very specific genres. He hated horror to the point where maybe not live, but in his show on air, just gave out the address of the director and the lead actress. Yeah, this movie, I hate it. Here's the address. Write to them and complain. He doxed someone on air because he didn't like the person who directed. I think it was Friday the 13th.
Jesus.
And now Friday the 13th is it's this classic legendary franchise that continues to this day.
You wonder, at that point, if you know that you don't like horror, why just continue to consume it? Just move on, right? Just don't be a critic of horror films. But again, I'm sure that got him plenty of notoriety and views, right?
Yeah, he was generally respected for his his opinions and stuff. That's just a really funny one.
Mm-hmm.
Of there's not liking it, and then there's doxing the director on TV.
Yeah, that's a couple of steps too far, but speaking of going too far, Carl, maybe they will have done here with a lawsuit. In 2000, filmmaker Gregory P. Grant filed a suit against Steven Spielberg, DreamWorks Pictures, and Universal Pictures, alleging that they had infringed on the copyright of his 1990 short film Ode to G.I. Joe. Grant claimed that he had met with Amblin Entertainment in 91 to discuss the potential to expand his short film into a full feature. The project went as far as commissioning a treatment from Grant and a 16mm copy of the short film at Spielberg's request, but according to Grant, Amblin dropped the project. However, Grant added that Amblin pushed for another film at the time titled Toy Soldiers into development nearly a month after Grant's project was passed on. Grant's attorney stressed that several scenes and ideas from Small Soldiers were too similar and taken outright from his short film and treatment.
Which does sound a bit suspicious, right?
It's like the moment you get like a G.I. Joe film pitch to you, you turn that down, pick up a film called Toy Soldiers, and then start having like suspiciously close scenes to the G.I. Joe treatment.
Yeah, because this is one of those things that happens every now and again where like someone who wrote a screenplay will think, well, I came up with this super original idea all on my own, and there's just broad strokes that are taken from it. But that does sound, because I'm assuming it's going to say settled out of court.
It doesn't say shit after that.
You know what? Maybe it's still ongoing.
I don't know, maybe while I just talk quickly about the merchandise and the video games, maybe you could just do a quick Google, see if
I'll do
lawsuit...
it now. Okay, so Small Soldiers lawsuit.
Against Gregory P. Grant. Just while Carl looks at that, we have merchandise here. A soundtrack containing classic rock blended with hip-hop because it was 1998. It was released on July 7th, 1998 by DreamWorks Records. It peaked at 103 on the Billboard 200. The film score was composed and conducted by veteran composer Jerry Goldsmith. In addition, a video game based on the film was developed by DreamWorks Interactive and released by Electronic Arts on September 30th, 1998. And let me tell you, I played a shit ton of the Small Soldiers video game on PlayStation.
I remember that video game kicking all kinds of ass, and I've just looked it up now, and eventually the lawsuit was thrown out, and it was deemed that Small Soldiers passed the bar for originality.
Right, okay, so like...
And any similarities were just, again, broad strokes.
Which happens a lot, right, is like someone will say, hey, I got passed up on, and then something that was broadly similar came along, so I'm gonna just like ask for some money. And like, we don't know how close those things are unless we like, maybe I can throw in a clip, we'll see. If I do, I found something. If I don't, I couldn't find anything, but maybe we'll like put in a little clip of the G.I. Joe treatment to see like how similar the ideas were. But yeah, you never know one way or the other without actually having a look at both and giving a fair comparison, right?
Robert Allen, come open the door. I mean right now. Do you hear me?
And obviously as well, it's in that guy's best interest to describe it as generally and broadly as possible to make it really, really sound like his original idea was stolen.
You get it both ways, and I'm not here to sit on either side of the fence, because sometimes it is people just looking and going, hey, here's a really easy chance to potentially get like a lawsuit settlement and just make some easy money. Other people genuinely do get fucked over, and people like in the past have been known to, you know, just basically take ideas from people that are like struggling writers and stuff, pitching what, you know, nice ideas and going, no, we'll pass on that and make our totally original idea. Video game wise, I mentioned that I played the Small Soldiers PlayStation game made by Electronic Arts and DreamWorks Interactive, but there's also Small Soldiers Squad Commander on the PC made by Hasbro and DreamWorks, Small Soldiers on the Game Boy made by THQ TFX Design Studios and DreamWorks, and then Small Soldiers Globotech Design Lab on PC made by Hasbro. And I want to know what that shit is, because if it's you designing Small Soldiers, that sounds cool.
That does sound cool, and those games were probably not as fun as we remember, but as you said, I remember playing them and be like, hell yeah.
I think it's like almost a Quake-like. I think that's what the aim was. Obviously,
I think it was like an over-the-shoulder shooter or something, like to my knowledge.
I think it might have been an FPS on the PS1. Like, dear God. Oh no, yeah, you're right. It's a third-person shooter with tank controls. I'm misremembering then. Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember it being similar to like Hogs of War. If you remember that game.
Well, that was just Worms 3D before Worms 3D, right?
Yeah.
I remember Hogs of War, and someone's actually remaking Hogs of War, I believe.
They can give it a go. Like, it fucking sucked.
Don't you come at Hogs of War. I'm sure that game was arse, but I loved it as a kid.
That's the thing, yeah. You loved it because you got nostalgia for it. But unlike Small Soldier, you went back to like watching, like, man, this still holds up. I guarantee if you went back and played Hogs of War, you'd be like, can we please do anything else? Including putting the controller down and sitting still.
Try and make our gaming channel happen so I can force Karl to play just fucking Hogs of War with me on
Hogs
the PS1.
of War would be a half an hour quick look, and that is all I would commit to.
When we make the gaming channel happen with our Patreon goals, like, just somebody please, like, come over to our Discord or whatever and remind me I said I'll make Karl play Hogs of War and I'll make it happen.
Also, as well, I'm very pleased that you've gone full balls out, pointing to the stands of like when, not if.
Yeah, not if, when.
Confidence, baby. That's what you need. You need confidence.
Oh god, one day we'll make it happen, everyone, and thank you for your support. But of course, Karl, people can just like this video, share it, comment below to let us know what your favourite moment in Small Soldiers was, but, you know, you don't have to support us over on Patreon. We just, really appreciate the people who do, but moving on, the film also had a film rating controversy.
There is quite a bit of violence in there. There's explosions, there's scary scenes.
No, Karl, don't say it's violent. Call it action. Kids love action. It's not violence, it's just action. And you know what? Kids love fucking action, and they love buying action figures. It's like,
Look at the difference between, like, Power Rangers, right? Of all those parents criticising Power Rangers and Ninja Turtles. And it's like, how do they get away with having what is ostensibly a half an hour long advert where 90% of the screen time is explosions and kicking the shit out of each other? No one swears, there's no blood, and you never see someone's ass.
There's a lot of Kia!
That's all you need.
Burger King created a line of kids' meals toys to promote Small Soldiers. They were met with some controversy after the film received a PG-13 rating from the MPAA. There's a lot of violence, there's a lot of explosions. I can understand how it got like a slightly higher rating.
I'm just going to say, without knowing for sure, but I'm going to guess here, it's because the Commando Elite use realistic looking weaponry, which is a big no-no when it comes to toys and stuff for kids.
No, Karl. That's not why.
Oh no, why is it?
According to Joe Dante, the MPAA gave the film a PG-13 rating due to a scene in which the commandos put drugs in Phil and Marion's drinks.
Oh, they do that, don't they?
They spike their drinks. I forgot about that shit.
Operation Sandman.
Fire when ready, Private.
Yeah, they do, which is another big no-no of abuse of drugs and controlled substances. Like, there's a few things that can instantly get a film or piece of media just shot up to the next age ranking. Like, the most obvious would be like someone getting their head blown off or saying the F word. But there's other stuff like abuse of drugs.
The soldiers are smart enough to be like, hey, they're having like a glass of wine and watch a movie, let's fucking drug them.
Yes, and it's the other one is anything that is replicable.
Yeah.
That's why stuff like you can't have kids climbing into what is it now? I think it's E.T. that got in trouble for this, and that's Cut It, where E.T. hid inside of like a tumble dryer. And you're not allowed to put that in movies because kids try and do it and the tumble dryer gets turned on, they die.
Yeah, I can't remember exactly how it changes, but there's like an edit to Lilo and Stitch.
So it's Lilo and Stitch where they did that.
Is it Lilo and Stitch? Yeah, they go into like hide inside a washing machine, but they've had to change it so that it's like an oven with a cardboard box on the front of it or something because like, yeah, just they're not allowed to show a scene where it's like, well, Lilo and Stitch jumped in a washing machine, kids.
Yes, and it's specifically the thing that you're not allowed to do is anything replicable by children.
Mm-hmm.
Because children are impressionable, and as much as everyone's like, well, that's a bit too silly, we've all tried to do something we've seen on TV.
Well, the end of the movie, Karl, ends with Alan grabbing Tommy Lee Jones as like leader of the elite commandos, and he climbs a power pole and shoves him into the transformer, and I'm like, that kid nearly killed himself.
Oh, he nearly does, yeah.
Victory is ours!
Have I got a shock for you? You stupid toy!
Yeah, that's another thing that is quite dangerous looking back on it. Like, you don't mess with electricity. It's like another big one for kids, right?
Yeah, like the fact that he puts his hand containing the soldier that's like got electrics inside of it. He puts it directly into, I think it's like transform, whatever the like big power boxes are at the end of the power lines in America. Like, he fries that thing inside of there.
But you had to make sure he killed Tommy Lee Jones, though.
He would have died a true hero, a martyr for all of us. It does say, apparently, that the pamphlet that came with the Burger King toys included a disclaimer: while toys are suitable for children of all ages, the movie Small Soldiers may contain material that is inappropriate for younger children.
They didn't go foot back. Lucas, there was RoboCop toys in the 90s and 80s.
It says that some restaurants accepted it in exchange for Mr. Potato Head toys, so some literally were like, nope, fuck this shit. And like, obviously it's like, I'm sure different franchise managers had different reactions, right?
Never even clocked in my mind that, okay, they do just drug the parents, right?
They do. This was obviously like a thing that happens when like all of a sudden Joe Dante was making a movie for a teenage rating and gets told, now we need to make kids toys.
Yeah.
It's like, all of a sudden we've got like tie-ins with Burger King and all these product placements and shit, like you need to lighten up a little bit, and that's not what he was aiming for at the time.
It wasn't the film that he was making or asked to make. He did an admirable job of cutting it down, but there's some elements, I just didn't even think about. And so when you mention them, they do, abuse of drugs. You can't have that in a film that's sensibly aimed at children.
Yeah, it makes me think of like all of the McDonald's tie-ins and etc, etc, etc. They must have had many, many different product placements and tie-ins with Batman Returns, but it was actually like, at least in the UK, I remember that being rated like a 15. But it's like, hey, here's like, you know, glasses from McDonald's that you can get to go get hype about Batman Returns or some shit. And it's like, oh, that movie's a 15.
Isn't that like one of the best giveaways they ever did? Like that Batman glass is like one of those things that people just go mad hype for at like estate sales and stuff.
Yeah, people go mad for those frosted glasses, man. Just one last category here. We have a short bit about a cancelled remake of Small Soldiers.
They can never remake it. Stop remaking movies that are awesome.
There was going to be a film called Toymageddon. The script was purchased in January 2014, and director Justin Lin was set to produce the film.
So he's a Fast and Furious guy, for anyone curious.
Yes, Justin Lin is one of the many people who's worked on the Fast and Furious, yes. And the story was described to be set in a toy factory that begins to run amok. At the time, it was not explicitly stated to be a remake of Small Soldiers. Then Disney later on acquired Fox and cancelled the film in August of 2019.
And oddly enough, Lucas, something just sprung into my mind that I can't believe I remember. So we've talked about Small Soldiers potentially being a rip-off of another movie. And also Robin Williams. Are you aware that there is a Robin Williams-led movie about evil toys released like 6 years before Small Soldiers?
Wait, what?
There is a movie called Toys, just Toys. It stars Robin Williams, and the movie, very broadly, is about a guy, Robin Williams, who makes toys. I think his dad owns a factory that makes like traditional classic style toys, like your ducks on strings, your stuffed animals, your toy soldiers, but it's like the nutcracker looking dudes.
Mm.
And someone trying to take it over and make more military style toys.
Oh.
And the end of that movie is them being attacked by the evil military toys, and they have to get an army of old toys to beat them. And it's just the last 20 minutes is Robin Williams and whoever else is in that movie throwing stuffed animals at helicopters. And I've just got it up here. It was nominated for a Razzie for Worst Director.
And who was the director, does it say?
The director was Barry Levinson, but it did receive an Oscar nomination for costume design.
That's like that thing that people always meme on of like the original Suicide Squad, not the James Gunn one, of like, that's Academy Award winning Suicide Squad because they got like best makeup effects, I think it was.
Lucas, it stars Robin Williams, Michael Gambon, aka like Dumbledore, Joan Cusack, Robin Wright, and LL Cool J.
Oh my god.
That's a stacked cast, right?
Oh.
Lucas, please put a clip of toys in.
I'm getting very hungry. I want my dinner now.
Let's eat. Sophie's hungry too.
Patrick, my son.
It was wonderful.
That's a neat trick.
Just as a final note, it does say on the Wikipedia page, when the film was cancelled, it was intended to actually be a remake of Small Soldiers. That's what it ended up as.
Oh, so they just admitted it, right?
Yeah. So yeah, that is Small Soldiers, a remake that we never got, and a remake that hopefully we don't get. I kind of just fine with that being trapped in like the 1998-ness of it. It's like, it looks goofy and fun. It's got a fun cast in it. It's like, it's just a nice movie. It's not particularly
say,
great.
Right, like, don't remake good or even okay movies. The best you're going to do is either match it or ever so slightly surpass it, but it still always be compared to the original. Remake movies that were bad. Remake that movie with LL Cool J and Robin Williams. remake that shit.
Toys. Yeah, because Small Soldiers, like, I think hold up for the most part, like, effects-wise and cast-wise and stuff, and it's just a movie where they're clearly having fun.
And you know as well, they'd remake it, and they'd remake it with CGI, which kind of defeats the point of the toys coming to life.
You can do it well, because this movie was 2/3 CGI too for the toys.
It was indeed. It's like Jurassic Park, isn't it? Jurassic Park, like, it's just such a... The blend is so well done.
It is, yeah. Thank you all for watching. I hope you all enjoyed this video. And I hope you all, if you haven't watched Small Soldiers, I hope this encourages you to go watch it, because it's just a fun time.
If you want to see some people absolutely just going full fucking ham.
If you want to see an army of Gwendy dolls voiced by fucking Christina Ricci and Buffy the Vampire Slayer, you know what? Go watch Small Soldiers.
Alternately, if you would like to see Robin Williams and LL Cool J fighting helicopters, go watch Toys.
Or just wait for Carl's remake to come out. Oh, thank you, everyone.
Yeah!
And thank you to everyone that's watched till the end of the video. We would like to just use this opportunity to give a little shout out to everybody supporting on our highest tier over on our Patreon.
Yes, if you've watched any YouTube video by now, you know what the deal is. You give us money on Patreon, we shout your name out at the end of the video, regardless of how stupid it sounds. And Lucas, what's the first name we have to shout out today?
Well, the first name isn't stupid, Carl. It's quite awesome because it is B of Awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, behold your new god.
B of Awesome.
Ahoy, hoy, lowly mortals.
Well, that's not a bad name, Lucas, but I counter it with Dan Daly, all one word. I feel like we're playing Yu-Gi-Oh! Right now, Lucas.
And I play my Blue Eyes White Dragon.
Draw your last pathetic card so I can end this, Yugi.
Our Patreon has no pathetic supporters, but it does have Dan Daly!
No one's ever been able to call him.
Just mind crush.
And Carl, the next card that I'm going to play has actually requested a clip for you to put in this edit. So
okay.
I guess that's your job now, but they would like to dedicate this to the goal of adding a gaming channel to our repertoire. And that is from the lovely Michael Tatum.
Okay, it's $500, you have no choice of carrier, the battery can't hold a charge, and the reception isn't very—
Shut up and take my money!
And that's the first person so far to request a specific clip, because a joke I like to do with our end of video shoutouts is just put a random clip in from a show or a movie with that person's name superimposed over it. And if people have a funnier clip or a specific clip they'd like us to put with their name superimposed over it, why not, right? I actually like that because I'm running out of clips to find, so that would be helpful.
Identify this Pokemon.
This is gonna be a breeze for me. It's a Voltorb.
And the answer is A.
Michael Tatum.
Seen from above.
Ah!
And Carl, I guess another way that people can like support us with their money is to just get us to read out silly names.
Yeah, so in that vein, and last but certainly not least, the final person we like to shout out is Woo Won King Day Willy Wonka. I'm now wondering, Lucas, what is like the longest name you can have on Patreon? Because could somebody change their name to Ooh Ee Ooh Ah Ah Ting Tang Walla Walla Bing Bang? Ooh Ee Ooh Ah Ah Ting Tang Walla Walla Bing Bang.
I guess we'll see maybe next month. I don't know.
Because that's the clip I'm putting in for Woo Won King Day Willy Wonka. Woo Won 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 King Day Won Won Willy Wonka. Ooh Ah. That's going in.
Oh my god.
Hey, witch doctor, give us the magic words.
Woo Won 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 King Day Won Won Willy Wonka.
Ooh ee ooh ah ah ting tang walla walla bing bang. Ooh ee ooh ah ah ting tang walla walla bang bang.
Thank you, of course, to everyone for supporting us over on our Patreon, and thank you also just for watching.
Yeah, it's very much appreciated, and we'll see you all next time.